On day 155, I'm going to start out by reading from the book of Hebrews, chapter 11, verses 6 through 7. It says, "And without faith it is impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists, and that he rewards those who earnestly seek him. By faith, Noah, when warned about things not yet seen, in holy fear built an ark to save his family. By his faith, he condemned the world and became heir of the righteousness that is in keeping with faith." So let's pause and let's think about Noah's life for a moment. As we all know, Noah built the ark amid some really trying times and brought aboard animals and his family and spared their lives, and was able to rebirth and kind of regrow humanity after the flood. So God asks Noah to build this giant boat. And at the time, it was in the middle of dry land with no storm in sight. And this was over the course of many, many years. And as years continued to pass by, there were no clouds in the sky. There were no flood warnings. There was no cheering crowd that was encouraging and pressing Noah forward. Just the voice of God and the sound of ridicule from everyone else around him. I guess not everyone realized this, but people were hurling insults at this man. Like, picture neighbors passing by, just laughing, strangers calling him crazy, friends distancing themselves from Noah because they couldn't understand what he was doing. They couldn't understand his obedience. And maybe, just maybe, there were some nights that Noah, when he was laying his head down at night, looked up to God and just whispered, like, "God, where are you?" Maybe there were days like hammer in hand, like long days where he was just thinking, "God, when are you going to come through?" But what Noah did was Noah pressed forward. He kept building. Why? Why did Noah keep pressing forward, building this boat for years on dry land with no storm in sight? It's because faith isn't just about belief. Faith is actually about obedience in the absence of evidence. Faith isn't just about belief, but it's about obedience in the absence of evidence. Hebrews says that he was warned about things not yet seen. Noah had no proof. He just had a promise. It's like a few days ago when I was talking about Moses and leading his people out, and I think it was talking about the parting of the Red Sea. Is like, sometimes we want a strategy, and I'm sure they wanted a strategy there too when they're crossing the Red Sea and it's not open at the time and they're thinking they're all going to drown. They're trying to plan and calculate and figure out how we're going to swim across this river, and are we going to die? And it's like, faith isn't about a strategy. It's about a promise that God will deliver us. It's the same here with Noah. So all this to say, it brings us to a truth that's evident in our lives today. And that is, sometimes the most courageous thing that you can possibly do is to just not quit. Like, that right there, that's not always loud, it's not always dramatic, and it's definitely not always easy. But again, sometimes the most courageous thing you can do is to just not quit. Because sometimes courage, what that looks like is just showing up to a difficult job that you're struggling in. Or sometimes what that looks like is forgiving someone, again, when it's hard. Or sometimes it's praying, one more time, even when you feel like heaven feels silent. It's just showing up. It's not loud, it's not dramatic. There's this quote that I came across that I love that coincides with this. It just says, "Courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes courage is the quiet voice at the end of the day saying, 'I will continue to press on tomorrow.'" Like, that kind of courage is what Noah had. Noah didn't need a crowd. He just needed conviction. Noah didn't need approval. He just needed the word from God. So you or I might be here today facing a storm that hasn't even started yet. And maybe we're building faith in a dry place right now. Maybe we're walking in obedience and the results are not visible at all yet. But we're trusting God in ways that no one else sees. And yeah, that's hard. But remember that God sees your faith. God sees your courage. And like Noah, your obedience could be the very thing that brings salvation for you and your family and you and your family's future. Like it could be today's obedience that's bringing and securing those things. So we just have to keep building, keep pressing forward. And again, we might not hear the roar of applause, but I can assure you that it's the delayed gratification that's worth way more than that immediate roar and applause that the world so often looks for. So just remember, when our strength is low, which often happens in this world, remember that courage doesn't have to shout. Sometimes it just simply whispers, hey, I'm going to continue to press on tomorrow. And that right there, that whisper alone is enough, because that truly is faith. Day 155.